was turned down by 7.8 dB. So almost 2 dB more. Guess what? Still sound bigger, still sound louder. Two mixes and two masters that both measure -6 or -7 or -5, whatever you want the number to be, one will always sound louder than the other because there is such a thing as perceived loudness. Warning, controversial video ahead, even though there shouldn't be really any controversy about this, but it's a hot topic and there's still so much confusion about this and so much bad information. How loud should you master for the streaming platforms? Should you follow the -14 LUFS guideline that Spotify gives you, or whatever other numbers are for YouTube, SoundCloud, iTunes? Yes or no? The answer for me and many other engineers is no, absolutely not. And there's proof out there as to why not, but I'll try to explain this in this video, even though it's something I've been talking about so many times in other videos, but I don't think I've ever done a dedicated video, so I will try to explain you why not. Hello everyone, welcome back to McSolaar TV. Hope you're having a great day and happy holidays because we are around that time. Before we start, please check the info box down below for my mixing courses on ProMix Academy, free plugins, special offers and discount. And if you want to support the channel, but most important now, access to the exclusive content, an ever-growing library of in-depth mix and mastering courses and videos here on YouTube, and also mix consultations with me via Skype or email. Click the join button down here, see all the perks of becoming a McSolaar TV member. Let's get to the video. Okay, so every day, multiple times a day, at this point I can't even count how many, there's someone asking me, should I master my music following the guidelines of -14 LUFS for Spotify or whatever other numbers are in the other platform, yes or no? Which is a legit question because unfortunately the platforms themselves caused so much confusion about this. And also especially after a bunch of people asked me how loud was Bella's single throat, which I never measured before until someone asked me to. And it turned out to be -4 LUFS. And that is pretty damn loud. And everybody was pretty surprised of how clean that track sound. And yes, it is possible to master records loud and clean. That's what's called good mastering and good mixing to begin with. But the important point is it was never my goal for that song or any other song that I mixed or mastered to be so stupidly loud. It just sounded better. And some tracks, some songs benefit of a certain aggression given by distortion, saturation, heavy compression, or heavy limiting. So color, so to speak, when you push them. So we push them for that reason, not necessarily because we want to win a loudness war, but because it sounds better. Now, that single in particular, that wasn't even the reason, because there's no distortion, there's no saturation. Many people said, wow, I thought it was something in the ballpark of -8 for how clean it sounds. And the long term is -5 LUFS. So it's not one section, it's the entire thing. Why am I talking about this in particular? Well, first of all, to show you that clean and loud is possible. It's not easy, but it's possible. So this way you have proof that I put my money where my mouth is. And second, because I want to differentiate between many channels that shouldn't talk about mixing and mastering and just regurgitate what the platform says and says, oh, the Loudness War is over because now all the mixes are gonna be turned down because the -14 LUFS, so you don't need to master loud anymore. And that's bullshit, that's complete bullshit. Let's go a few steps back. Why loudness and loud records are looked sideways? The reason is because most loud records sound bad. Most, not all of them. In fact, I always say loudness bothers those who don't know how to do it clean and how to do it right. Because bad loud is a problem, not good loud. And good loud is hard, bad loud is extremely easy. But I'm gonna talk about that later. Let's start with why I and many other engineers out there just don't follow the guidelines. There are so many reasons. And if you want proof that nobody cares, all you need to do is to open your favorite artist, right-click on their YouTube video, and click on Stats for Nerds. In there, it will tell you of how many dBs that track was turned down. I did a couple of comparisons, for example, with the latest Billie Eilish. it was turned down by 6.1 dB, which is a lot. And then I checked Bella's single just out of curiosity because I never did it before, and it was turned down by 7.8 dB. So almost 2 dB more. Guess what? Still sound bigger, still sound louder. But they are the same nominal level, aren't they? Because YouTube put them there. And that's the problem, nominal level. The measurements, the numbers only tell you part of the story. 2 mixes and 2 masters that both measure -6 or -7 or -5, whatever you want the number to be, one will always sound louder than the other because there is such a thing as perceived loudness. And even if you turn all the tracks, all the master at the same level, the ones that are mixed better have a better potential for loudness. So in mastering, you don't have to fight that much to bring them up to high level, and there's no distortion because the mix is well done, is balanced, and the mastering is well done, is balanced. The result is not a track that is squashed. If your track is squashed, that's bad mastering and probably bad mixing. The result is a track that is denser, that is more aggressive, that is fuller, that is more of everything. That's good mastering. Bad mastering turns a mix into a squashed mess. But that's mostly the result of all the home mixing and home mastering that does that. So please understand that one thing is the number and the other thing is the perceived loudness. And the perceived loudness is so complicated. It has so many factors that contributes to how we perceive a track, how loud we perceive a track. There's a harmonic content, there's saturation as in distortion, there is arrangement, there is stereophile, there is balance, there is so many things. There is contrast. And that brings me to the next critique. Oh, squashed and loud masters completely destroy dynamics. Well, first of all, that is bad mastering. If the mastering stage destroys completely your dynamics, you have a bad mastering engineer. Second, enough with this dynamic, it's so freaking overrated. What do you need, like 24 dB of dynamics in a record? You know what we do for the most part in mixing? We try to contain dynamic. Like we've been doing this for decades. And breaking news, no matter what, if we take away probably classical music, mastering as a process, no matter how good it is, to some extent will reduce your dynamics. You want to tell me that you heard this here for the first time in 2020? No, like this is what mastering does. The problem is how you do it, because there are ways, I promise you there are, and you don't need to believe me, my stuff is out there, mine and many other engineers, okay? To do that, and not only retain the dynamics, but once again, to enhance the perceived dynamics, which is both the macro dynamic and the micro dynamic. So your snare transient and your kick transient and the overall movement of the track. You want another example, just so again, I put my money where my mouth is. Go listen to one of my mix and masters. It's called Raygun Romance, Love Like Mine. I'll put the link down below. You want to talk about dynamics? Hard to get more dynamic than that. And in there, you also have another example of a massive low end and loud levels. So the dynamic thing is first in the arrangement, second in the mix, and third in mastering, which needs to preserve and, if possible, to also enhance the perceived dynamics. So about the 14 LUFS or other numbers on other platforms, the take-home message is this: a good master, a good mix and master, loud, will sound always louder and better than a skimpy, low-level master and mix, okay? And the reason is out there is not only your master, it's everybody's master that it gets turned down. And if you have a problem because by trying to reach a higher level, you squash dynamics, then you don't do it because obviously you don't know how to do loud and good and clean, okay? It's not mandatory to be loud. All the masters out there get turned down. Do they all sound the same to you? No, they don't. Why? That's why. There's also another bunch of problems with following those guidelines. First, they are all different. So what you're gonna do, you're gonna print a master for every platform. Okay, let's say you want to do it, you have the time to do it, you do it. You know that your mix will sound different on every platform, right? Not because of the level, because of the amount of processing that you put on one versus the other. No processing is transparent. So just like two songs that measure the same will sound different, It's because the processing is different. To push a track to loud level, there's some processing that we do, whether it's enriching the harmonic content, whether it's adding little saturation, whether it's compression, whether it's clipping, whether it's soft clipping, whether it's limiting clipping converters, a whole bunch of things that we do. And a good mastering engineer do those things because it makes the track sound better while bringing it to commercial level, okay? And let's face it, there is such a thing as commercial level. The Loudness War is not over. It's not, it was never over. Is that the first years of the Loudness War were kind of the experimenting years in which many people just wanted to be loud and they didn't know how to do it very well yet. Today, there's people that specialize in that. I do. So it's possible. But going back to the platform, even if you do a master for every single platform, which is insane to me, they're all gonna sound different. So is that what you want? It never happened before in the history of music or recorded music to have a bunch of different masters for different platform and stuff. And even more silly is people who tries to master for like laptops or cell phones or Bluetooth speakers, which is insanity. I'm not going there today. And second, they are not even consistent for the same platform for different medias. So for example, you can read it yourself on the Spotify guidelines. The normalization process doesn't even apply on some media, for example, like TV or some web player on the phones or on other media. So it's not even the same platform doesn't agree with themselves on different media on why there should be a loudness normalization or not, which in my opinion is stupid to begin with, because why a streaming platform should decide how loud and to normalize everything. What you're trying to do, set the bar lower so everybody can release more music and you make more money? Because that sounds like it to me, unless you think they are worried about your hearing, which is stupid anyway, because normalizing the songs, you know, you just turn the volume up. But anyway, they are not consistent even in the same platform for different media. And then there's another thing. What if tomorrow they change that number? You mastered for the past 2 years a -14 LUFS, and now tomorrow they decide it's gonna be, I don't know, -8, or they're gonna take it away altogether. You're left with like a bunch of skimpy low-level masters, or you're gonna change all of that? No, it's crazy. It makes no sense. And again, the point is the difference between good loud and bad loud. I want to stress this because that is the core of the problem. And if you want more proof, watch my video that I released like a month ago on intersample peak, IPS. In that video, I use a page on the web that is called TC Finalizer that shows you all the measurements of all the commercial releases, okay? So you can take a look yourself. And if you want to know more about how a loud master will sound bigger and fuller and denser and better than a low master, given the fact that it's done correctly, I have a mastering crash course on hip hop, but applies to every genre. It's for members only, okay? And it's called like this, a crash course, hip hop mastering crash course, something like that. I'll put the link down below. You need to be a member to watch that course, but that's not just a mastering lesson. It focuses specifically giving you examples in the video on how two tracks at the same nominal level sound completely different regarding perceived loudness. So if you want to expand that, and if you want access to all the good stuff and all the real mix and mastering videos, become a member. Is like super cheap. So these are pretty much the reasons as to why I want to say 90% of professional engineers out there don't follow those guidelines. You know, what we do is we simply do what we've been doing for decades. We just make the best master possible, period. That's all we care about. And of course, if a client, you know, is concerned about this and wants a master that is -14 LUFS, we'll just print a version like that. But try this at home if you want. Try to master a track, your next song, as loud as you can while still being good, okay? Let's say you arrive at -8 or -7, okay? With, of course, it's gonna be probably by using a bunch of processing, which is soft clipping, hard clipping, harmonic enrichment, and some limiting, of course, various types. Try to make it as loud as you can, as good as you can. And then take the same track and take away all those processes that you use to bring it to that level. And don't just turn the output of the limiter. Do what other many channels that shouldn't speak about mix and mastering tell you to do. So don't master loud. So take away all those processing that you use to bring the track to level, and probably you will take away a lot of limiting, a lot of clipping, a lot of all that, all right? And you keep it at minus 14 LUFS. Then you take your loud master and you bring it down with the level, with the gain, to the same level, a minus 14 LUFS. And then tell me which one sounds better, fuller, bigger. And if the other one sounds better, it's because the mastering is poorly done. But like I said, I really encourage people to sign, even if you want to sign for just a month so you can watch, you know, all the videos. There's a lot of members only content that specifically talks about this, and there will be more and more in the future. Actually, a new course on how detailed the mastering work really is on a client's track is about to be released in a couple of weeks or 3. So like I said in the intro, I know this video is going to be controversial. I know it's going to rub a lot of people the wrong way, and we don't care. My goal here is to try to educate and give good information with proof. So all the links are going to be in the info box down below. I hope this video was useful. I hope you liked it, and if you did, please don't forget to leave a like and share. If you missed the biggest event going on right now on the channel, Bella Kelly Throat Remix contest with over $25,000 in gear, plugins, software, control surfaces, and so on. Check the announcement video. I'm going to put it down below as well. We have time until January 31st. It's not just a remix, it's a remake, so you can turn that into whatever you want. We are getting almost 20 remixes a day, and many of them are already uploaded on mixbustv.com. There's a section that says a remix contest. There's a player, and every 2-3 days we upload the new entries. If you're a member already, please check the community page often, because I post all the content and all the news for members in there. We have a closed group, a private group on Facebook as well, and now there is a playlist on the homepage of the channel that shows all the members only videos. Follow MixBustTV on Instagram and Facebook. There's a lot of exclusive content in there, not just pictures, but posts, pools, and updates on everything, production, remixes, giveaways, and so on. And I also pop up live on Instagram while I'm working, maybe mixing and mastering, so you get a sneak peek of my session, and I take a couple of questions live when I have time. Thank you for watching. Subscribe if you haven't already. See you next time.
Hands on my neck, hands grip my throat. Lift me up, man, take control. Heart is so gone, my type. Don't you know I fall for the bad type? You play the role of an angel pretty well.